Have you ever started a light conversation? Something that was very broad and general and with goodwill, good intention, only for it to end into something that spiraled into frustration and tension and discontent. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. How simple conversations can turn into conflict and become so complicated. Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Welcome back to another episode of the KimUnity Soulutions podcast, the only podcast that turns workplace challenges into everyday solutions. I am your host, Kim the SME, and today that's what we're going to be talking about. How simple conversations turn into conflict and to complication. So has this ever happened to you? And of course, I'm speaking of it because it's recently happened to me. And so I said, let me just go ahead and use this as a topic because it's something that has been consistent lately. I won't say consistent, but it has been frequent. This can happen either in the workplace, at home, in the grocery store, but something that you just have just simple intentions, nothing negative, but it ends up turning into something that you feel is unnecessary, unwarranted. It can be something as little as, did you get gas already? And the other person get offended, as in they may respond with saying, I just got off work. No, I didn't get gas, or I keep gas in my car. But that's not what your intention was. Your intention was maybe that you were on your way out and would take their car if they didn't have gas. You were on your way out and you knew they had a long day the next day, so maybe you wanted to take their car to go fill it up. Something as simple and as innocent as that can turn into something that is so much bigger. Has that ever happened to you? In the workplace, it can be something as simple as, hey, did you get my email? Maybe you had just received it and hadn't had a chance to even read it all the way through yet. And so you respond back, and we can find ourselves on either side of this equation. Either you are the one that's asking the question or starting the conversation, or you are the one that is responding to it. And I believe we all can raise our hands and say, yes, I've been there. Yes, I was the one asking the question. Yes, I was the one responding. Yes, I was the one who took offense to it. Yes, I was the one who asked the question and didn't realize where their mindset was at. Didn't realize or didn't take into account what they had gone through that day or how it could have been misinterpreted. It happens. It happens, but this is how we create change. We look at the challenges that we face or have come into contact with, and then we dig into it to see, okay, what could I have done better? Where did this go wrong? Yes, I can point fingers at them, but is it something that I could have done or that I could have seen to make the conversation more open maybe, or not be so triggering? Maybe that's it. Maybe the way that you asked the question or began it, or if you say, can I talk to you for a minute? Maybe that just throws them off, like they're already assuming the position of being in trouble, about to be interrogated, about to be questioned about something that they're not in the mood for. They don't want to be bothered. I know it's happened to everyone. So first, I just want to talk about, okay, what could the other person be going through? What do they hear when you say certain statements? And then how can we prevent it, or how can we resolve it or avoid it and prevent it from ever occurring in the first place? And these are all life lessons. Everyone's different. Everyone has different lived and unlived experiences. So we cannot always be 100% sure that it won't happen again in the future, right? So the first thing is, hey, I need you to, right? If somebody's just getting off work, or if you've already asked somebody to do something and then they hear that, now they're bothered. Now they're irritated. Now they're overwhelmed. So their response may be to snap back or to be irritated because now you're piling something else on their plate. Or to say, have you already, and I know this seems minor, this seems petty, but I know you can relate anyway. Yesterday, when I asked you, you say different statements like that, different questions, different paraphrases or prefixes to a question can automatically make someone tune out or to protect themselves. They tense up in expectation. Depending on who we're talking to, especially if you know them, you may have to change your approach. You may have to come at it at a different angle. And then after that, once you see someone's irritated, maybe you need to say, is everything okay? I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. It was just a general question. I want to make sure everything's okay so there's no misunderstanding. It could be a simple compliment as in, oh, it was good to see you. But someone else take it as, you act like you didn't see me already. Or are you saying that I never show up to the family function? Right? And of course, the person asking this is like, where did you even get this from? That's not the angle I was coming at all. Why the frustration? And that's when we, as the person who's asking the question at that time, needs to see, okay, we're not eye to eye right now. We're not on the same level. We're not on the same page. They must be going through something. It's so easy to become combative and go down to their level when it's unnecessary. That's not where you were at the beginning. So you shouldn't have to end there. And I'm telling you, I am bringing this topic up because of an experience that I had just the other day. And it was just unwarranted. And then even when I brought it to their attention and I was very calm about it, like that's not what I was going for at all. This is what I was saying, you know? And it could be easy. I'll just tell you this part. They were frustrated and I said, okay, how can I help? Is there anything I can do? Like, tell me what's going on, because they were just frustrated. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? And then they just lashed out. And so it's like, okay, maybe you need to just let them have their space right now. Maybe now is not the time. Right? And we always have to have this gauge. This is where emotional intelligence comes in at. This is when you can't just go by what you hear. You have to go by what you see. You have to go by what you feel. You have to refer back to past experiences. Like, we have to use all of our senses when we are communicating, trying to get our points across, asking questions, trying to help. Your help may not be needed. It may be a bad time. You may have said something that has triggered something from their past. What have you said lately that was misinterpreted or that turned into something that it wasn't even supposed to go there? To the point to where you're saying, like, how did we even get here? Has that happened to you? Like, you start off great in the morning, in a great mood, great spirit, high energy, and then you just say something to somebody. And then there it goes. You got to try to catch that energy back. Like, nope, that's not how I came into the situation. This is not how I'm going to leave. I will not let your baggage be attached to me all day long. And that's the way I have to look at it. Because I know in my heart of hearts that that was not my intention. And again, it could be from their past experiences. What's another thing? It could be because of the last conversation you had. Like sometimes we have to put ourselves in their shoes in order to figure it out. Well, I wonder, just because I wouldn't react like that, let me put myself in their shoes to see, okay, why would they react like that? We never know what someone else has going on. They may be just lashing out in this aspect because something else is going wrong or they're unhappy with in their life. These are all reasons and scenarios of how simple conversations can turn into frustration and conflict. Simple conversations. Maybe that person just needs attention and don't know how to ask for it. Maybe your question or your presence wasn't there long enough. Maybe they needed you to be there longer. So that's why they tried to antagonize you in order to keep your company. Even though that's not the best way to do it, right? It all comes down to what are we willing to do in order to resolve it, in order to prevent it? What are we not going to do? And that's a decision that I had to make the other day was you raised your voice, you did want to be bothered, and so I removed myself. I only came because I heard you. And once I see that you didn't want my presence, then I left and continued to do what I was doing. After I tried to console, after I tried to see what was going on, okay, I know there's boundaries. Now is not the good time. This is not what you need. You won't tell me what you need, so I'm going to go back and continue doing what I was doing. But guess what happened? Later on, it was you left me. What else was I supposed to do? I had no idea. How you responded, how you acted, how, the words that came out of your mouth did not say, I need you here. I want you to hold me or hug me or whatever the case may be. We have to understand that it is very difficult in order to always be able to see or read what someone needs. It would be great if, even though they didn't get what was expected, that they can have empathy and see, okay, well, they did try. This was an effort. This is their personality type. This is how they tried out. But that's not always the case. Simple conversations can turn into huge conflicts and create these frustrations unnecessarily. Unnecessarily. And that's the worst part, when that's not even your intention. That's not even where your head is. That's not where your mindset is. That's not even your character. But it happens. So again, like I said, in order to prevent these types of scenarios or address them, is to just be mindful. I mean, there's only so much we can do. We can be mindful. We can self-reflect, and this is on both sides of the equation. We can get understanding. We can agree to disagree. You can say, oh, that's not what I was trying to do. And they said, well, yes, that was it. That's how I took it. Okay, well, that's not what I meant. And you can apologize, but if they don't take it, we have to agree to disagree. It's just that simple. If you're unsure of what someone means, maybe you can ask again, can you repeat that? I remember I used to be at work and I had a senior accountant. So when I had a question, I was new to this role. And so when I had a question, I would go to her and ask the question. And, at the end of the many years I was there, we didn't leave on speaking terms or whatever, right? But what I appreciated, and always learn from people who learn from everyone, Whether you guys gel or don't gel, learn from everyone. What I appreciated was when I would approach her and ask the question and she didn't understand my question, she would say, "Ask me again." At the very beginning, when I first heard that, I would get irritated. Like, what do you mean, ask you again? It wasn't a, I don't understand. It was a ask me again. And so I would take it, this is initially, I would take it as maybe there was bad grammar or you're trying to push my buttons. But that wasn't the case at all. The case was she didn't understand the way I was saying it at first. So if I turned it around, if I approached it from a different angle, or if I used a different terminology, that she would have a better understanding in order to assist me. And so that's something that I apply going forward. When someone approaches me and asks me a question that I don't really get, I can't get to an answer because I'm still trying to figure out how the pieces fit together, I'll say, ask me again. Some people say, can you rephrase that? Right? But this is something that I learned and that I appreciate and use to this day. Everyone can use that. Or you can say, what do you mean by that? What exactly do you mean by that? To get clarification, the more questions you ask, the easier it is to resolve at the root level. So I'm not going to be with you all too long today. I just wanted to come on here and just talk about this real quick because it happens. And we are at a place right now, especially since the pandemic, where we have less and less face-to-face conversations. And so it's very easy to get misunderstood, to not understand emotional cues, to think that someone else responds the same way you respond or someone you know responds. And so it's very important for us to extend grace, to be mindful, to realize like, okay, we are all different. Maybe when I say this over here to this group of people is understood this way. Over here to this individual is understood someone totally different. So just learning how to extend that grace so that you can have those open lines of communication so that people can feel safe and comfortable in trying to get clarification without the other person being offended. This is in order to prevent of offense, right? So I just wanted to get on here and say that I hope that this has helped someone. I hope that you're able to use this when you go back to work tomorrow, when you're at home or at that family function. We don't have to always just snap at people. They probably didn't even have any ill intentions of what they said. That may be where your mind frame is. My mind frame. Because of something else that's happened earlier that day. So it's very important to just extend grace. Ask for clarity, get understanding, apologize if necessary, and move on. Maybe agree to disagree. We need more of that in the world today. We need more. It takes so much energy and so much time in being negative and staying upset and walking around with a chip on your shoulder and having an attitude. It takes a lot. So as I close out today, I just wanted to let you know that you are heard, you are loved, and we all just need a little bit of grace in order to get better understanding our lives and our days will run so much smoother. I am your host, Kim, the SME. As always, I am only speaking from my experience. I hope that you take something from this and apply it to your day tomorrow, this week. If you need understanding, just say, "Can you ask me that again? Can you rephrase that? What did you mean by that, actually?" Simple things, workplace, at home, in public spaces. That's all it takes, you guys. That is all it takes. You all have a blessed one. Bye.